Hello guys, what's up and welcome to yet another interesting sewing tutorial episode. So in today's tutorial video, I'll be sharing with us a detailed step-by-step guide on how to sew this beautifully done handkerchief sleeve. As always, girl Uwa apparel. Kindly hit the subscribe button and let's get started. So for the making of our handkerchief sleeve pattern, we would require 1 yard of Ankara print fabric, and first I'm going to be cutting out the one for the handkerchief portion of the sleeve. So the width I am taking here is 14 inches wide and 14 inches of depth. It's a square fabric, and that's what I'm marking out right now. So you can see me ruling a straight line across the points I made there, and I went ahead to cut it out. Okay, so I cut out 2 pieces first, and I also cut out the lining piece. So this is for the first layer, the upper layer, which is the smaller layer. My sleeve round is 13 inches. That's how wide I want my sleeve to be. Then I'll be leaving out 2 extra inches, which is making it 15 inches wide, okay, for the allowance. So you can see me folding my fabric first in 2, and I folded it a second time, and this is what I have after I was done folding. So after this, now I'll go ahead to take the measurement for the radius, and for this my radius is going to be 2 inches. So after I was done folding, you can see the length of the fabric now is 7 inches. So when I take a measurement of 2 inches radius, we'll have the full length of this handkerchief at 5 inches. So I've taken my radius now. I'm simply using my chalk to connect the points together. Thereafter, I went ahead to cut it out. So this is the first cutting for the first layer of the handkerchief portion of our sleeve. So I'm going to be opening this now on one side, okay, as you see me do right now. So this is what we have after I was done opening it. So I'm going to be using my tape now to take the measurement for that radius portion there, and you're going to see that it is going to be 15 inches of length, which is the measurement I took for my sleeve round. So this is what I have, 15 inches of length. Okay, so you can see 13 inches is the actual measurement, while 2 inches extra will be for the allowance. So I also went ahead to cut out for my lining piece, which we're going to be using 1 each for both. So we'll pick 1 lining piece and 1 Ankara print fabric. So we're going to be setting this aside first while we cut out the pattern for our basic sleeve for this sleeve pattern. So this fabric is what I'm going to be using to cut out our basic sleeve. Okay, so if you are conversant with my channel, you would have seen me show to us how to draft the basic sleeve pattern. So the length of my fabric is 20 inches of length, while the depth is 10 inches, as you can see, or a little above 10 inches. Okay, so I'm simply folding it now in 2. This fabric is 2 separate pieces of fabric, please take note, and then I folded it in 2. So usually I just use my curve rule to, draft my pattern and then I cut, but let me do a detailed explanation of how to get your exact basic sleeve measurement. So first, I'm taking the measurement for the sleeve round. Like we measured, it was 13 inches and then extra 2-inch allowance, which is what I just drafted. I took a measurement of 7 inches and then I added extra 1 inch to it around the border area there. So from the top portion, I am taking a measurement of 4.5 inches. I made a point there Okay, so from this upper portion there, I am also going in by 3 inches. So I'll make a point there on that same point where I took 4.5 inches. So from the side, it is 4.5 inches. From the top, it is 3 inches. So I'm going to be placing my curve rule now on that point where I have my 3 inches. That's the 4.5 inches point, and then I also have my 3 inches below it there. So you can see the way I positioned my curve rule to meet that point where I have my 3 inches. Please take note that this is a short basic sleeve pattern. So you can see how I just simply connected it there and I went ahead to cut it out. It is simple. To draft your basic sleeve, you go in by 4.5 inches or 5 inches from the side or from the top, and then you go inward by 3 inches. Place your curve rule and then you have your measurement. So that's basically it for the drafting of our basic sleeve. So now I am separating one piece of the basic sleeve pattern and I'm going to be attaching this handkerchief pattern as well, as you can see. So I'm placing it around the sleeve round, and I'll go ahead to run my stitches by 1/2 inch. But first, I'm holding it in place using my pins, so to be sure that it is not longer than each other. Okay, so another thing you can do is to make a notch at the midpoint of the handkerchief fabric and also at the midpoint of the basic sleeve fabric. So you start holding it together from the midpoint to both ends. Okay, so this is what we have after holding it in place with my pins. So I'll go ahead now to run my stitches on that portion I'm indicating with my finger. So after stitching, this is what I have. I've sewn for the main fabric and I've also sewn for the lining piece as well. So I'm just trying to arrange it so you can see what it is looking like. Okay, so next, I'm going to be placing the lining piece on top of the actual fabric, okay? The right sides facing each other. And then I'll go ahead to show us the portion which I'm going to be stitching around. So now I'm going to be running my stitches around this portion I'm indicating with my fingers, okay? So I'll take it to the other end. So my stitches is going to be run by 1/2 inch. And after I was done, this is what it is looking like. So I'll go ahead now to fold it. I'm simply showing you, okay? So I'm going to be folding around the armpit area, which is what you're seeing right now. And I'll also be holding it in place using my pin. So you can see that it is of the same length. So I'm simply holding it in place using my pins so it doesn't shift while I'm running my stitches. And then I'll go ahead to sew by 1/2 inch around that portion I'm indicating with my finger. So next, I'm flipping it now over to the right side. Okay, so the lining piece is going to be inside the actual Ankara print fabric. So I'm ensuring that all the edges are coming out. You could use your scissors to push it out. There are going to be 4 sides, 4 angles. Okay, and this is what it is looking like. So I also go ahead to iron it flat so it will look smooth, and you can see it's already looking very beautiful. So you could leave yours like this, but the image or the picture which was on this video showed 2 layers, and that's what we're going to be working on. So for the second layer of our handkerchief for this sleeve, the length of fabric is about 20 inches over 19 inches. So the fabric I have left was about 19.2 inches of width, and then the length is 20 inches. So I was supposed to use 20 inches over 20 inches, which is a square shape. All right, but this is what I have. So I went ahead to also cut out my lining piece, and you can see me doing the exact same thing I did for the first one. I folded it twice, and I'm also taking a radius measurement of 2 inches, which is the same with the first measurement I took for the first layer. So after cutting it out, this is what it is looking like. So it is the same sleeve round. Okay, so I'll go ahead now to sew around that portion I'm indicating with my finger, and then I would also be sewing around the radius portion by 1/2 inch. So this is what we have after I was done stitching. Okay, so I'm going to be opening it on one side like we did to the other layer. So I just decided to stitch first before cutting it open, and then from that portion where it was cut open, I am simply flipping it over to the right side. So I would iron it flat so it will be smooth and neat. Okay, so this is what it is looking like after I was done ironing. You could see that I actually joined my fabrics together, my lining piece and my actual fabric, so that I'll have enough material for this tutorial video. So to close that opening there, you can see the way I'm holding this fabric in place. We want the stitches to be inside, not outside. So this is how to, make your stitches. So I'm simply holding the actual fabric side together first by 1/2 inch. So I'm also going to be holding the lining piece portion, but I'm not going to be able to finish stitching around the lining piece portion. Okay, so I'll go ahead now to run my stitches around that portion that I've held together, and I'm indicating with my finger right now, and then it will be remaining a little portion there after stitching. Okay, so this is what we have. So I'm pushing inside now the stitched portion, and this is what it is looking like. Okay, so the remaining opening there, I'm just going to go ahead to close using my thread and needle. So first of all, I am folding the fabric, the rough portion or the cut portion inward now, so that I can stitch it neatly. So guys, now that we are done stitching on that portion now, I've brought the other one which was earlier stitched. So look at the way I'm positioning it on top of the wider one. Okay, so this is how to place it on the wider one. You can see the way it is positioned. So I'll go ahead now to hold it in place using my pins first. Okay, so I'm going to be holding it in place using my pins on all 4 sides. Then I'm going to be running tiny stitches, about 6 tiny stitches, short stitches around that sleeve round. So I'm going to be indicating with my fingers now, a short stitch there, another one there, okay, another one there, another one there, about 6 stitches. So after running my stitches, I'm simply removing the 4 pins I use in holding it in place, and you can see it properly positioned. Okay, so this is what our handkerchief sleeve is looking like. Very beautiful and looking exactly like the one that was displayed at the beginning of this tutorial video. So with this, we have come to the end of today's tutorial video. If you haven't subscribed, kindly hit the subscribe button so you get notified whenever we put up a new video. Thank you so much, guys.